Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker with a special offer tea from Teavana. I'm going to go ahead and tell a little bit about it in just a moment, but I'm going to start off by preparing this tea. I'm going to use my fingers. They're clean, free of fragrances from soaps and other, because it's a kind of a long, fluffy, wiry leaf. I don't want enough to cover. I don't want to be able to really see the bottom inch and a half diameter of my gaiwan here. It's about a 3-ounce gaiwan, if I remember correctly. Water's been brought to an early boil, started to rumble, not a full rolling boil. And I want enough water so a little bit's going to rest just above the rim of my lid. When I put my lid on, that looks good. We kind of balance that lid on there a little bit better. It may rattle around a little bit, but that's okay. Get this kettle out of the way. Talk about this tea. This is from Teavana, as I said, and this is kind of a unique or limited edition tea for them. This is a Golden Dragon Yellow tea. You can find it, according to information that I've given, I found it on their product, on their website. There's a product page there. It appears to, I believe it's also going to be available if you're in the New York City area at their, I believe it's their Madison Avenue, their kind of their flagship store in the area. It's a Teavana tea bar and shop there. And you can get 2 ounces for $29.98, just under $30 there. And so I'm going to talk about this tea, the dry leaf, the wet leaf, the liquor. Starting off here, you know, there aren't a lot of, you don't hear an awful lot about yellow teas. They're kind of in between green teas. There's some green tea processing that takes place so that you do have to stop the oxidation process to keep it from turning color, turning from, say, a green tea into a oolong or a black tea. And yet there's also this menhuang, a smothering process in which this smothering fermentation type activity is happening. These teas, the skills that are required to make these more complex teas are becoming more rare. You don't see as many, and some of these teas have actually kind of gone nearly out of existence, almost nearly impossible to find. So we'll talk about this particular yellow tea. Now, I've been able to taste a few yellow teas. Of course, there's the traditional styles, the long-held, time-honored traditions, practices of producing this kind of tea, and then there's some kind of shortcuts that have been taken so that you get something quite similar, but the time is reduced. Some shortcuts have been taken in that sense. This particular tea, so far, I'm getting aromas that are close to kind of a raisin bran, a malty smell. These are smells that I associate with either some Fujian or some Yunnan Dianhong, some black tea type of smells, or in Chinese maybe called red teas. So first off, it's different from the aromas that I've gotten from some other yellow teas. I'm going to scoop out a few of these leaves and look at them. And what you see here is you have a lot of tips or buds. They're fuzzy. They are a golden type of color. You see some leaves or very young leaves that are more of a grayish type of color. Light, kind of a paler gray. And so what you also see is that these are fuzzy buds, tips. There's the fine hair still on most of these leaves, and these leaves are, or I should say these tips or these buds are an inch or more in length in many cases, not all, but most of these, if they're intact, are large, like an inch or more, inch and a half even in length. So I'm going to return those to my tin. This is a nice tin, seals well. You've got your inner seal there and your nice metal canister there. I'm going to go ahead and pour this tea, get this out of the way. Angle my lid over to the side of my gaiwan just a little bit, hold it in place with my index finger, so that I can pour, get a nice smooth, clean pour. Looks like one leaf slipped through. It's going to kind of dance and float around in there. Give something to look at. Leaf and a half there. I'm going to go and now and get into this wet leaf though. Let me set that over to the side. Give that a shake. Again, initial reaction, more of the malty, more of the raisin bran, more of the even kind of a gentle grape skin type of smell that I associate with some Fujian black teas and some Yunnan Dianhong teas. Though as it cools, it gets more into that kind of toasty, raisin bran, malty type of smell. Pulling out a few of these leaves. There's a leaf, a needle here, stuck to the lid, tender, about an inch or a little less maybe in length. You can actually unfurl it and see the inner younger leaf that's was waiting there to develop next and unfurl next. You see a leaf and bud type set here. Maybe the tip of the bud there, the needle broke off. Let's see. They've become a paler green, olive drab, moving over towards a very light tinge of very faint, kind of gentle, pale rust, I guess would be the way to describe that. Here's an individual leaf here, mostly intact. Got a few rough edges, gashes or cuts here and there. For the most part, a full leaf, so I'll stick that to the side there as well. I'm going to get into this liquor. I don't see a lot of oxidation taking place. I don't see a lot of blotches of like rust red occurring. Although on the edges of some of these leaves, there's a bit of a light, very pale, again, pale rust red type of tinge to it. Let me give this a swirl, hold it up to the light. And that is a deep golden, moving over towards almost a reddish type of color. Give that a pour. We'll talk about the smell here in just a moment. Still those similar malty notes coming out. A little bit of the raisin bran, toasty kind of notes there. This is redder in the cup, more towards on the red end of the spectrum than other yellow teas that I looked at. This has the tastes, again, what I got in the dry leaf aroma, the wet leaf aromas here, still that malty, that raisin bran, toasty, plus raisiny, sweet, kind of even grape skin, red globe grape type of smells. Those are still present. Texture, silken. You got just enough astringency to kind of create this powdery type of, or silken type of feel. And it's affecting more the back half of my mouth than the front, although it is in the front. Aftertaste, gentle, gentler than a Yunnan Dianhong or a Fujian black tea, but similar components. Again, still those same components that aroma, taste, character that were in the front. Gently fading, gradually fading now to the back and kind of disappearing near the top of the throat, not moving somewhat into the throat, not very much. Off-camera tastings, I found that this tea also kind of didn't sit well on an empty stomach. There was a little bit of a for me and in my present condition, there was a bit of a kind of a churning type of feel that I get with some certain kinds of teas that potentially I don't know other way to say it, that it may be a little too acidic for me. You hear about tea tasters, and people talk about how some teas can sit better on the stomach than others. That's something to consider. Looking at this tea, speaking plainly, I don't recognize a lot of the traditional, the more commonly recognized characteristics of yellow tea in this particular tea. This comes across more as a dabai, it gets the feel of a large leaf varietal that has been wherever it may be, that was produced. All the information provided by Teavana is it was in China. Wherever it was produced, this went through processing similar to like I said, a Fujian black tea, a Yunnan black tea, also called a Dianhong. And so I would give this one a lower score. I would have to give this one probably I would not. I cannot say this is representative of yellow teas, so I'd have to give this one like a 79. Okay, it's got some interesting components. It's similar to some interesting, like I said, black teas. But come back to Walker Tea Review to learn more about the differences and the characteristics that you come to expect from different categories of tea.